Hello and welcome to my channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Millie and today I'm going to be creating 4 looks and giving you some of my thoughts on the brand new Menagerie Cosmetics Flight Club palette, this is what it looks like on the outside. And then here it is on the inside. I've been long awaiting another Menagerie Cosmetics palette. I absolutely love the themed eyeshadow palettes that they create based on animals. I have almost all of them except one of them. I think the one with the lions on it. They're one of the top brands that excite me. And so when they were hinting at coming out with what seemed to have been a purple palette based on the packaging, I knew I was going to be buying it, just no matter what the inside looked like, because I knew it was going to be absolutely beautiful. And they do have some gorgeous shimmers as well, and there are some dual chromes and I think even multi-chromes they said. So I knew going into buying this palette that obviously this is the color story that I got. So I don't prefer the shade Downside Up, this kind of cream beigey shade in the center. I think it could have been switched out for like a deep purpley matte or like a deep cool tone brown. That's something I was really missing in this palette, especially as I was creating these 4 looks, was a deep matte to help with kind of deepening up the crease or the outer corner, especially because this palette has 3 pretty deep shimmers in here. So we have Hanging Out, Mega Bat, and After Dark. I feel like if you have deep shades like this of shimmers in here, you should have an equivalent of a matte shade. So I just felt like I couldn't really quite deepen up enough. Flying Fox and Flighty are the kind of deepest shades in here, and they're just not quite deep enough for me. If you've been on my channel, I really like to just like super deepen out my outer corner, and then I do wish there was like maybe a super translucent shade for an inner corner highlight. Obviously that's not a must. Obviously that's just like a personal preference and I could really dip it to anywhere else. But Nocturnal is actually, it has a little bit like of a base to it, so it's not completely like translucent for the inner corner highlight, which I did use it for one of the looks, so you will be seeing that. But overall, I was really excited about this palette. I've been very picky on which palettes I buy recently. I just really enjoy my singles the most, so I feel a bit more careful about which palettes I introduce into my collection. So let's get into swatches of the palette and my 4 looks that I created with it, and then I'll give you some of my thoughts at the end of the video. I'm gonna start with a little baddie and just put it into my inner third of my crease. And I'm gonna blend it up. I'll be putting another shade into here. And that's just kind of how we're gonna leave it. I'm gonna just flick it outwards. Next I'm taking Flying Fox and just layering that on top of that. Just adding a little bit more depth. Next I'm taking, again, a Flying Fox and just tapping it kind of like a wing and connecting it and taking it all the way across my lid pretty much. Really wish there was just a little bit of a deeper shade, or at least if there was some sort of like a super cool toned brown or something to help deepen this up. Definitely think this palette would benefit from like at least one deeper shade. I'm gonna take Little Baddie and just kind of layer that on top and blend that out. And then going back in with Flying Fox and putting that depth back in there. Next I picked up Fruity Beast and I wet my brush, and I'm gonna kind of put that in this empty space between the two. And I'm just gonna bring it all the way, you know, above my crease. It's fine. I don't mind shimmers in my crease or above it. And then I'm just gonna go back in with Flying Fox and kind of stamp it on that edge so we have that distinguished difference between the shimmer and the matte here. gonna go back in with a little more. I want it to be like quite a bit of a line. I want it to be almost like a cut crease without it being like a full cut crease. And then for the second look, again priming with the Sigma primer, going in with winging it right in the crease, and I'm already trying to put it kind of above my crease a little bit, because I'm going to be doing like a full cut crease with the shimmers. So I just want to make sure I accommodate that. This shadow is not really blending that great. It's like wanting to stick down. I don't know if it's the primer. Putting down a flighty right in the crease again and deepening that up. And I'm actually gonna dip into downside up. I don't love that this shade is in here. I feel like it could have been rather a deeper shade, you know, but it's nice to have if you just want to feather out the edges further. So I'm kind of bringing this pretty high up because I do have to cut my crease pretty high up so that you can see it. So we're gonna put on some of the NYX glitter primer and just gonna do like a full wing basically with it, just to kind of map out where I'm gonna put down the shimmers. So I have to make sure I am cutting high enough when I open my eye, since I do have hooded eyes. I think that's good. So I'm first gonna go in with Nocturnal. Ooh, that's so pretty. I feel like I have a shade like this somewhere. Then I'm gonna go in with After Dark, right in the center. And then on the outer corner, going in with Hangout. Just trying to remember where I drew that. That's the issue with just using the glitter primer though. And then just gonna polish it up, going back in with After Dark. I like how it's like mixing here with Nocturnal. It looks really pretty. It creates like a whole nother shade. I'm gonna go back in with Flighty and just kind of put it on the edge to bring back some of that depth that I kind of lost with cutting the crease so high. So I'm back with some lashes on. On this side I have Chiffon by Kiss, and on this side is Kiss Muse. And then in my waterline I have Insomniac from ColourPop, and then on this side Piggy Bank from ColourPop. To finish off this eye, putting Flying Fox underneath my lower lash line, connecting the outer kind of wing that I did, and then I'm gonna go in with a little baddie right underneath, and then on this side going in with Flighty and winging it. And I'm gonna take Hanging Out, which is that outer shimmer, and just connect it with my lower lash line. This wing did get a little out of hand. It's a little thick. And then using Nocturnal for the inner corner highlight. It's not very highlighty actually. It looks like it has some sort of a base. So here's the first finished look. And the second finished look. Onto the third look, I'm priming with the ABH primer, going in with Squeak in the crease. Okay, this is a very pigmented. Whoopsie. This is one of the times that downside up is going to actually come in handy, is to use that on the edges to feather those out further. There is quite a bit of kick up in the pan. I'm using Flighty, and I'm gonna do a halo eye. Putting it on the inner lid and then tapping it on the outer lid, and then just tapping it outwards to blend it in with the shade we put down in the crease. I switched brushes because I felt like that one was too fluffy to really pack it on. So I'm going back in with a flatter kind of brush. And then I'm gonna blend it out. Going back in with Flighty under my lower lash line and Squeak right in the center. I'm gonna use my finger and go in with After Dark right in the center. And I am going to bring it up into my crease and just all over the lid, kind of, sort of. Next, taking Nocturnal, I sprayed the brush and I'm gonna put it right in the center of everything. And just try to kind of blend it into the shade that I just have down. Go back in with my finger and kind of put it back in on the outer edges. The fourth look, priming with the Natasha Denona eyeshadow primer. Going in with Sky Puppy in the center of my crease. And oh my gosh, super pigmented. Just adding a little bit more on. This is such a beautiful color. I think I'm just gonna do like one shade all over the lid with this because the shimmers are super metallic. Kind of want one look that just really features that. I'm gonna put a little baby on the outer portion of that to help blend it out. This is going to be all the way up to my brow. Taking a clean brush and just feathering out those edges further. Just making sure everything is blended. Go back in with Sky Puppy. This is such a funny name. I didn't know that's what bats are called sometimes. I honestly don't really know much about bats. So I feel like that created some depth. Actually, this color is almost like deep. I feel like it is sticking down a little bit. I don't know if you can see, but right here, it doesn't want to blend out. Next, I picked up some Mega Bat and I sprayed my brush and I'm just gonna go with that all over. This is such a cool shade. There's a lot of depth in it. I can definitely see like almost multi-chrome effect. So it's like bluish purple here and then it goes to a more like purple that matches the crease shade I went in with. And I'm gonna go in and blend that. This is such a pretty shade. So for the lower lash line, keeping it nice and simple and just connecting it with the Sky Puppy. And I'm going in with Mega Bat just a little bit and kind of bringing it slightly down underneath my lower waterline. So here's the third look. Here's the fourth look. I would say the quality of the shimmers as well as the mattes is right on par with Menagerie. These mattes are not here to play. These are just so pigmented. I feel like I've been playing around with some mattes recently that are a little bit more buildable. So it was like a little bit of a shock to go in with some of these like right in the crease and it's just like pow, like pigment. The shimmers are just absolutely super slick and very, very shiny. Some of them have a slight like shift. They're all just very dimensional, but I kind of stand by what I said in the beginning of the video. Like, again, I knew going into purchasing this palette that there was some things I didn't love about it, but that wasn't enough to hold me back, especially because it's Menagerie Cosmetics and I just absolutely love the brand. So I will be buying most of their eyeshadow palettes unless the color story really doesn't speak to me. So I still do stand stand by, downside up. It could have been a really, really deep matte shade to match the rest of the colors in here, especially to pair with the deep shimmers, because I think with having these 3 deeper shimmers, you do kind of get like mostly smoky eyes. And obviously this is a totally monochromatic palette, so you're going to get very similar looks out of it each time you use it. So that's just something to keep in mind. I think that's pretty obvious and I don't really have to say it, but I don't mind that at all because I love purple and there's some like pinky tones, so I really just love these kinds of colors together and I love using them, and I do love all the looks that I came up with, especially the shimmers are just so beautiful. And I did try out this palette on 3 different eye primers and it seemed to all have worked really great. I know there's some other formulas that sometimes just don't jive with certain eyeshadow primers, so that was really good to see. And of course the packaging is just so cute. I love it. I never thought I would be like a bat person, but this is just a super cute illustration of a fruit bat. Like, I mean, look at him, his little chunky cheeks from eating just all the fruits. So let me know in the comments below which look was your favorite, and if you picked this palette up or do you plan on picking it up. I'm not sure if it's available on their website right now. I know this was a pre-order. So that's everything for this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, I would love it if you subscribe. There's so much indie makeup content, lots of sparkly, shiny, shifty eyeshadows already on my channel, and much more to come, so you don't want to miss out. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.